Hello, potato. If you're watching this when it just came out, Easter was just this past Sunday. We did the whole big Easter blind basket video. And today is something that came for Easter, but was not part of the Easter blind basket because, well, it's not blind. And that is from Matilde Vicenzi, 1905, Tesoro Amarena Fabbri bite-sized puff pastries with Fabbri wild cherry filling. Did I pronounce any of that correctly? Probably not. So these are an item I received for Easter because, see on here, you may recognize this if you go like to your local warehouse club or import store, the cool little glass, like ceramic white and blue jar of cherries. That's supposed to be what is in these. I've never tried those cherries. I've always wanted to. Don't know what I'd do with them when I got them as part of the problem. I mean, I guess I would do a video where we just try some, but I don't know what I would do with them beyond just eating a couple out of the jar and then putting it aside. But yeah, we got these little, I mean, I want to say cookies, but they do say they are pastries. So I really don't know exactly. I've never heard of Amarena Fabbri Pastries. I've also never heard of Matilde Vicenzi in 1905. But perhaps some of the information here on the back will make more of that clear to me. The Vicenzi legacy. For over a century, we've carried on the Italian artisanship of our grandmother, Matilde Vicenzi. Our dedication to authentic Italian recipes, exceptional ingredients, and belief that every bite counts continues to be our way of honoring her legacy. So yes, Matilde Vicenzi was an actual person. I'm going to assume 1905 is when the company was founded. But what does that say about these actual treats themselves? Treat your taste buds to a splendid wave of flavor. 192 layers of rich and crispy, slow-baked puff pastry with decadent Fabbri wild cherry filling. Encourage you to seize the moment of sweetness. So I don't know how big these are going to be, but I do like that I see on here that the number 2 ingredient is the wild cherry filling. Wheat flour, then cherries. So this isn't going to be like a little drop of cherries unless it's like just a really tiny pastry altogether. But this should be a good amount of cherry. Glucose, fructose syrup, glycerol, sugar, wild cherry juice. Nothing particularly weird or suspect in those ingredients there. I mean, I'd say it's all easily pronounceable. Some people have trouble with like diphosphate, but still there's nothing super chemically in here. And these are crafted, not made, not produced, not baked, but actually crafted in Verona, Italy. So yeah, produced by Vicenzi S.p.A. via F. Garofalo, San Giovanni, Lupotato, Verona, Italy. No information on who imports them. Now I don't like this sticker. I love tins, of course. That's all. This thing, it's in a tin. Love it. Love anything that comes in a tin. Not loving the sticker here. I just look. This is not going to come off easily. But at least the tin's in good condition, and yeah, we'll figure something out. So yeah, let's check out Tesoro Amarena Fabbri Pastries. And get these little seals off here. Yeah, I've always wanted to try these cherries. I see them all the time in there. I mean, the Costco has them sometimes. The Costco we go to is I think has more European stuff than some of the other ones in the area. Like this one that has more like South Asian stuff. Ours has more like Eastern European stuff and European stuff. So yeah, but I see the cherries all the time. Also, I've seen them at like some of the international market stuff. They'll have them, and just never picked one up. And okay, ooh, wow, they're tiny. So I didn't know what I was looking at here. I guess the cherries are like actual size to the pastry there. These are itty bitty. So you get in here, we got what, 4 trays of them? And yeah, looks like we have 4 trays of them. So you get, and it looks like there's 2, and so we have a total of what, 24 in each tray. That's, I'm messing about what was the thing on this? 150 calories for 4 pieces. 6% daily sodium and 1 gram of protein. So basically, one row here, or column here, would be a serving. Let's grab ourselves a serving and check them out. So I feel like I'm gonna have to put this partially eaten package into like a zip top. I don't think I'm gonna want to leave this just inside the tin. Although I guess when you do that with like ginger snaps and stuff, so maybe it's okay. They're very crispy feeling. Kind of feel like at first feel like a little bit like a palmier? Is that what I'm thinking of? The crispy ones. Not, yeah, Madeline's the other one I was thinking of. Palmier, Palmer, I don't know the correct pronunciation for that either. It's French and I'm not. All right, get you back up there. Give ourselves a nice little view of our Tesoro Amarena Fabbri Pastries. Yeah, like little hex nuts. Like we're eating little nuts, like, you know, for putting on bolts with just a dab of cherry in the middle. So, second ingredient is the cherries, but I guess we do have a lot of flour. There's probably a big gap in percentage between the flour and the cherries. 192 layers of puff pastry, it says here. So this has been folded over many, many times by, well, presumably a machine run by the descendants of Matilde Vicenzi. Scent-wise, I do not get the cherry. It just kind of smells, well, kind of like a palmier. It just smells of like cooked puff pastry, which say doesn't smell of much of anything. So let's give it a try. So it's not overly sweet. The cherry, now there's not actually really isn't a ton of cherry in here. And it's the syrup, it's not the actual cherries themselves, it's just like a gel made from the syrup. And the predominant taste here is of the pastry. It does taste kind of like a softer palmier. It's got that same kind of buttery, flaky pastry taste to it, with almost just a hint. That's fair. I only, kind of bit it in half, just so we can see that cross section there. But there's really only like a hint of the cherry in there. It is predominantly the pastry you're tasting with some cherry, like just kind of backing it up. They're very, very flaky. It does leave a bit of an oily residue in your mouth in the way that, puff pastry things sometimes can. That one where I had the rest of the cherry. So kind of the pastry broke up around my mouth while the cherry kind of stuck together in the middle before eventually giving up its own like sense of self and spreading out. And it's a nice taste. It's not overly cherry. It's not overpowering cherry. I was kind of hoping we'd have just a real blast of cherry, but I don't know what these cherries taste like normally, if they even have that like a really, really big flavor, or if they're a little more subdued, because it's a little subdued here. And of course it's not, it's not your big like cherry candy flavor cherry. It tastes like actual cherries are involved here, not just cherry flavoring. So that's pretty good. These would go nicely, I think, with a cup of tea or a coffee. Just like eating it in one bite like that, yeah, you get a mouthful of lightly sweetened, very crispy, very flaky pastry. That then, after a few seconds of chewing, is kind of joined as the cherry starts to like dissolve in your mouth and spread around, and you get this kind of fairly light, not so subtle you can't tell it's there. It's not like one of those things where it's not like those supposedly flavored carbonated waters that taste mostly like somebody walked it through a room with a bowl of cherries in it. It does actually, you can actually taste the cherry. It's just not an overwhelming, overpowering taste, which honestly, I kind of would have preferred personally. I would have loved an overwhelming, overpowering cherry flavor. But this is just, also, I just realized here, I'm thinking they must have taken one of these and just added some more cherry syrup to it for the picture, because none of these ones have the cherry kind of bubbled up like that. They're all very much seeded in there. I feel like they sweetened this with some extra cherry syrup when they were making it. But it does definitely make me want to actually get one of those jars of cherries to try now, because It's a nice cherry flavor. It's not, again, it's not super sweet. It's not overpowering. It is a nice flavor. Also noticing here on the bottom, I'm wondering, so is that how they put the cherry? It's like the cherry injected up from the bottom and not dropped in from the top? Because those look like puncture holes from some sort of injector. Like maybe they're, you know, coming up from the bottom and injecting cherry to fill the little pool as opposed to dribbling it in from the top. Also, though, there's an indent here, so we're getting... First of all, it seems to have affected the bake. I wonder if that's done before baking? Because it's definitely lighter there, like it wasn't touching the baking surface. But also, like you're getting a little bit less cherry than you maybe otherwise would if this were even with the rest of the bottom here. They are nice, though. They're nice. They're, you know, to my American palate, they are not super sweet. You know, we tend to make things here in America very sweet because you got to do something with that high fructose corn syrup. You can't just let it sit there. It has to be put into anything and everything we eat. So compared to a lot of like American treats, this is definitely much more subtle. It feels a little bit nicer. It feels like get that nice crispness. I'm not counting all 192 layers there, but there's definitely a lot of layers of pastry in that. It's very light, very crisp, I'm not gonna go with buttery because I don't really get butter, but definitely like there's an oiliness to it in your mouth that you do tend to get with kind of shelf-stable pastry. Because I don't know, was it butter? I mean, let's see, it was vegetable margarine. Okay, I can see that. There is butter in there too, but vegetable margarine, I do reckon that is what I am feeling in my mouth, is the vegetable margarine. Palm oil, sunflower oil. Yeah, that's sorry. That is largely what I'm getting. That's what's leaving a coating in my mouth. It's not the butter, it's the vegetable margarine. And that's fine because it's probably more shelf stable. And also, let's be honest, probably a little bit cheaper. But, you know, butter could theoretically spoil vegetable margarine. I mean, I guess oil spoils too, doesn't it? But maybe not so fast, maybe not so easily. But these are nice. I definitely makes me want to go and grab a drop of those cherries and figure out what to do with them. That'll probably be something in the future, unless, of course, the price for them goes up to some obnoxious level, which is entirely possible. We may have to put that off until, well, you know, until things sort themselves out. But we'll see. We'll see. I have a feeling this channel may become a lot more American-centric in weird snack foods for a while. But hopefully not. Anyways, these are nice. Not too sweet. Nice crispy flavor. Very light. Cherries are good. Want to try more of those cherries? That's the TLDR or TLDW version of this video. And with that, we'll wrap this up. I hope you found it all interesting or entertaining. Those were Tesoro Amarena Fabbri Pastries from Matilde Vicenzi, crafted in Verona, Italy. I hope you found it all interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.